Hello, Virgin Islanders and friends. I'm Ron Grant, and you're watching 284 Media out of Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. As we continue the celebration, our emancipation celebration, that is, today happens to be one of my absolute favorite days, and it's Tuesday, August Tuesday. That means horse racing. Of course, we're not able to meet at the Ellis Thomas Downs like we usually do, but that does not mean we cannot understand the importance and how far we've come when it comes to horse racing, and believe it or not, how much further we still have to go. All this and so much more. I'll be joined by President of the Horse Owners Association, Mr. Lesmore Smith, right after this commercial break.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Viewers, welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Again, a happy August Tuesday to you. Mr. Smith, Lesmore Smith, that is, welcome to 284 Media, and a happy August Tuesday to you, sir.
Thank you, Ron. It's a pleasure always to be here.
Absolutely.
And, I'm happy to always have this conversation with you.
Most definitely. Now, the stables are catching dust, if I may say that. There's been not much activities. The stands are not filled with persons. The fashionable women with the hats and the eloquent, very eloquent promoters from the USVI and commentators. It's not happening this year, and things happen for a reason. However, we are still very cognizant of the sport of horse racing. As you know, I'm a huge fan, believe it or not, and today we still celebrate what we would know as August Tuesday, when families, friends, residents, visitors from the USVI, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, of course the BVI, would join in together and have this fellowship. We have come an extremely long way as it pertains to the sport of horse racing, but we still have a lot more to go. I want to begin this conversation by taking it back a little bit. Where did horse racing begin in the BVI?
Ron, from what I've been told, it's way past me.
Yes.
From what I've been told, that it started somewhere in the Hope Estate area. It was also in the area of Lower Estate, from where the old posters in the road behind the Elmwood High School.
Dario's, yeah.
Go up to that, from Dario's, yeah, go up to the sandbox, past Simmons property, going up that road there in Lower Estate area. Then I know for a fact when I came in existence, it was the Little racetrack next to Mr. Ellis' house, a part of what exists now, to the addition of what it is for the Ellis Thomas racetrack. It was a Little racetrack then. Our stables used to be just behind where Fancy's nest is.
Yes.
So we used to walk across the street and in by the mango tree area, and there was all galvanized in. And Mr. Thomas had a nightclub, a bar, and a small dance hall upstairs. And that's where I started from there sometime in 1992. For my first time owning a horse, which was the Mailman that I bought from the late Ashley Ritter. And then we move on now to the Ellis Thomas Downs, where I've owned much faster horses and much better horses and win a lot of races. So it's been a good time for me as a horse owner. I've been privileged, and I'm still privileged to be at the helm, trying to keep things together since the hurricane season 2017. We sort of had the setback. I took the initiative, went down there with the assistance from Mr. Ashley Ritter with heavy equipment, Nicky Scatley from Bargos Bay with his equipment, had some assistance from the 3rd District Rep, Mr. Fraser, and really clean the whole property up, redo the stand for it, what it is now that we see in the last races we had, and put the barns back together. And there's some guys that went out, got some horses, and there we went. And St. Thomas came over willingly and supported us because they didn't have anything going on for them. So we were the #1 track for just about a year, keeping the sport alive, because it's a sport that I grew up knowing and fall in love with, and invested my time and my services. Indeed. And I'm so sad to see where it is today based on the world crisis. But I know we'll get back there someday as long as God permit life. And that's where that now.
Indeed. When we put festival into perspective, of course, we have the village, the food festivals, the food fairs, sorry, we have the entertainment, but horse racing, believe it or not, is right up there as we think and celebrate of our emancipation celebration. When we put festival into perspective, what role does horse racing play in BVI, a culture and heritage?
I would call it number one. I am not frightened with the parade. I'm not scared with the parade because we are the overall parade at the end of the day, August Tuesday. We have people literally save their nice fashion wear to come out and support. And when you're saving your fashion wear to go to an event, it means that it is special.
Yes.
And horse racing is special. It have been, I've met it that way, and it will continue to be special. If you look at, in America, you go to the Breeders' Cup, the Derby, Dubai. Those are where the real people go. No disrespect to the regular August festival. Those are where the real guys go out and enjoy themselves, and the lady put on the fashion wear and enjoy themselves. August on Monday, they'll put on the not too hot clothing for that day.
But today, August Tuesday, that's when the
put
real
on the
stuff
whole
come
thing.
out. Yeah.
They just put on the long, nice dress and the nice fancy hats, and they come out to showcase themselves.
Indeed. I want to talk about some losses, and horse racing, the sport of horse racing, has unfortunately taken significant hits. Of course, most recently, I must mention with the loss of the late Rodney Mileage Simmons and Bob Earl Hodge. Now, these two gentlemen were quite pivotal in the sport. They not only competed, but they really put their money where their mouth is. And in addition to their loss, I think COVID-19, the pandemic, and all that we've experienced since the hurricanes of 2017, we've seen a number of losses. I want to speak to their legacy and exactly what we need to do to continue to make sure that there's a new generation of horse owners and horse fans, enthusiasts coming to the forefront.
I think, just to talk a bit, the loss of Mileage, Rodney Simmons, and Earl Bob Hodge, it really put the dent in the sport in itself, in the BVI, in the Virgin Islands overall, because they were competitive in the Virgin Islands. When you go back to the reality is that we, just before, in December 2020, we had a conversation, all three of us, and they did pledge their support coming forward for 2021. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. May their souls continue to rest in eternal peace and their family be consoled in every way possible. Because I know these times is where you will really reflect back, and as well it will be the same. So that way, they will always be remembered for the competitiveness, Mileage with his horses, Bob with his, household names that
Real
they
horsemen,
carry.
yeah.
Good, great horses. I competed with them on the track. I went to them for the Governor's Cup in St. Thomas. Those were my glory days, I must admit. I always take them out for the Governor's Cup most of the time. But usually at home, they say a king have no honor in his own home. Yeah, they defeat me every time at home.
Always.
But when I travel, I would get my shot at them. Coming back to where we need to go from here, I think what's going to happen is I must thank the government for passing the Gaming Act. And until we can put that in full effect, which you have to get the commission and all the people that need to be involved, to get that in full effect, where you make it as more like a business. We did it as a hobby, but horse racing in itself is not a cheap exercise. It's not a cheap sport to have. It takes a lot, because coming up to race day, you would pay the vet at least $200 per horse just to do the overall testing, because you have to go through that process. You want your horse to be prepared, you want to win, you have to pay the vet. So at the end of the day, knowing for a fact too, we don't have any local vet. We had to fly the vet in, you had to pay the housing accommodation, all those stuff. So it's really an expensive venture. But I think with the whole thing of getting the Gaming Act, where you could have the pari-mutuels and those other means of getting revenues, to make the purses more feasible. Because the only time we had a good purse is around this time of the year, festival time. The purse would be like minimum $20,000 for the overall big race. So you'll have a good day of winning for that particular day. But thereafter, you find the biggest purse could come down to like 5,000. And then in 1 week or 2 weeks, you probably don't blow that in terms of feeding the horses, depends on the amount you have, paying attendants, and all of those stuff. You have to get the farrier, which every 21 days you have to change the shoe, and if the horse threw the shoe, you have to still pay the farrier to come and put it back on. So it's really an expensive. So if that come in effect, there were a number of young guys was getting involved, like Dion, Stevens, and those guys that just came in on stream and was getting involved, and some that was working with myself along with Rodney's son. They was the young people coming on stream. But now how the whole thing, with everything submerged with the COVID and everything else, we now have to go try to rejuvenate their spirit and see if we could get them back integrated into the system. But we'll have to come with a good package in terms of their ways for them to invest to make their money back when they spend it. By having the games and the parimutuel so they can make the process more feasible.
I thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for bringing to the forefront the issue of parimutuel betting and, of course, the Gaming and Betting Act that was recently passed. At the end of the day, I think while there may be many persons for it as much as maybe against it, I think hearing your perspective as a horse owner and really understanding the level of investment that horse owners put into their horses and the sport, I think it's important that we understand and in our Christian society understand the balance and the importance of seeing both sides. I must ask you, when we think of public support, we have horse race enthusiasts from East End to West End, Just Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, of course, Anigata from St. John, St. Croix. The people love the sport. I want you to speak to the fans, the people who have stuck with it. They've come out to the Ellis Thomas Downs race after race, whether it's a big race or not so much a big race. They continue to come out and support. They play a very pivotal part in really supporting the sport and making it what it is. Like we've mentioned, the loss of our two stalwart horsemen, Mr. Hodge and Mr. Simmons, and also the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as going back to the hurricanes of Irma and Maria. What do you say to the people, the fans, who are perhaps getting a little tired and like, what's going on? Horse racing, some may say, is dead. What do you say to the fans?
Rod, I got several calls leading up to this from my number one supporter, Mrs. Eileen Parson, who was one of the person that was instrumental in getting the now Ellis Thomas Downs to what it is. Lesmore, are we going to have anything? We tried, Ms. Parson. And then we had the upsurge in the COVID situation. Country got locked down to the next point. So it threw us off a bit because the object was we were trying to see how best, I already had dialogues with St. Thomas to see how best we could at least get them to bring over a few horses to add with what we have, and at least had 5 races. It could have been 5 3-horse races, but just something to entertain the people, because we know that's what the people love. People meet me on the road. I mean, you all have to run at least 2 donkeys, because we can't just sit home, and that's where we always go to the track on Tuesday. And we were also trying to see how best we could have put together a fun day. After we realized, well, the horses would not have been possible, put together a fun day so we could get the people out, we can put the big screen up, replace some of the old races, just an entertaining day.
Right.
So can bring family and friends back together. But with all that is happening, that becomes impossible. So I just want to say to the people out there, let's have faith. Like how we having faith that we'll overcome this COVID situation. Let's have faith that life may not go back to exactly what it used to be. But we will get it to some point where we could still have a social moment together. Because as Virgin Islanders, we know what it is to socialize. I would leave from here to go to St. Croix and run races on St. Croix track, run races on St. Thomas track. They welcome us. We welcome them. We know what it was. Horse racing brought us together and kept us together as a people, because that's what we do. We meet at the tracks, several different tracks, entertain each other, embrace each other. Have faith. We all gonna get back there. You just have to keep believing, keep doing what we need to do, keep playing our part within the society, and someday, you never know, it could be sooner rather than later, we're back where we started.
Most definitely. Mr. Smith, I thank you so much. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the supporters and horse owners in the BVI that contribute to the sport. We're not going to get into names because I think that will set us up for a little bit of trouble. But there are a number of persons, horse owners and non-horse owners, who have contributed significantly to the development of the sport. They have contributed in whatever way they could, whether it is by being a vendor, helping to clean the property up. We thank you for your support. And also, Mr. Smith, I thank you for your work and the team, of course, with who you have with you in continuation of this sport. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, once this too shall pass, which it will, we'll see a rise to horse racing in the British Virgin Islands. Happy August Tuesday to you, sir, and happy August Tuesday to you, Virgin Islanders and friends.
Thank you, Ron, and to all you good people out there, continue to be safe. God bless. Keep your head up. Faith is still possible for things to happen.
Viewers, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you later.
Thank you, sir.